This is the answer to question 7. Okay, it's 2 recruiters. Walked into a bar. No, that's a different one. 2 recruiters sitting at a desk. One of them takes about 8 jobs a month. And she gets 6 to 7 of them exclusively. And she fills 5 of them every month. The recruiter sitting next to her takes 20 jobs a month. They're all in competition. They're not properly qualified. And he fills 2 jobs a month. This is actually a true story. A pre-COVID story. I don't think either of them are filling very many jobs right now, but true story. The first recruiter was billing $700,000 a year and earning $250,000. She was working about 40 hours a week, a couple of calls from home at night. Her name was top of the leaderboard. She had massive bonuses. She had massive affirmation. She had regular bottles of wine from clients and candidates. She was a legend and is a legend in that business. And she loved her job and she's been doing it for years and will probably do it for 25 years more. The other guy sitting next to her is working 60 hours a week. He's constantly having to tell clients or being told by clients he's lost the job. He's constantly having to tell candidates he doesn't know what's happening. He is miserable and he has never earned a commission check yet. Now, which one would you like to be? Have a good think about it and ponder it for a month and then send me an email. We're obviously working with that guy. And the difference, of course, is exclusivity. And people just don't get it. But if you are working multi-listed contingent and you fill 1 job out of 4, and your average fee is 20%. What your real average fee is 5%, right? Because you're only filling 1 out of 4. You're only getting paid for 25% of the work you do. What other industry does that? And as we emerge from this COVID period, it's a fantastic opportunity to recalibrate the sort of recruiter you are. And I promise you, the benefits will be financial. The benefits will be time and stress, but most importantly, they'll be self-esteem, right? Because you're working in partnership with your client. The client is actually saying, they don't use these words obviously, I've got a problem, you're better at solving it than me, take the problem and please solve it for me. And that also means you're going to be more committed. And so my encouragement to you is that you learn how to sell exclusivity. And I do encourage you to go to my blog, gregsavage.com.au, where there's plenty of stuff on this. I imagine I did videos on this for Recruitment Juice. Can't remember, but I hope so. And I encourage you to go to those. The first thing is you have to believe that exclusive orders are in the interests of the client and the candidate and yourself, in that order, and they are. That's the first thing. You have to believe that. If you don't believe it, you can't sell it. Now, why? We know why they're in your interests. I've just explained. More money, more time, less stress, more repeat business, etc. But they are massively in the interest of the client because the client gets your full commitment. And you have to be courageous and articulate to explain that if the client gives you the job exclusively, they will get a better service than if they give it to several recruiters. And clients don't think that. Clients think, I can tell you, how do I know? Because I've asked at least 1,000 clients, why do you give jobs out in competition? And the 3 things they say, or the 2 main things they say is, you'll work harder. And the second is I'll get a greater spread of candidates, both fallacious. We don't work harder on jobs in competition. We work harder on jobs that are given to us exclusively, when the client's given us the commitment, when the pressure's on. The only time I've ever had sleepless nights in recruitment, and I've had a long career and a lot of difficult things, is when I've sold a retainer to a client and I haven't got any candidates. Then I'm interviewing candidates over coffee on Sunday morning. No bullshit. Do you think I'm going to do that, interview candidates on a Sunday morning for a client who's given me a job in competition with 7 other agencies? Of course not. The client gets a far better commitment. The client gives us time. The other thing is you need to explain to your client that if you give me this job exclusively, it gives me a time to do this work based on quality, not on speed. Why would you, would you go to 4 brain surgeons and then pay the one who could do the operation quickest? I know that sounds ridiculous, but would you do it with accountants? Would you give 6 accountants your tax returns and say, whoever comes back by Monday morning, I'll pay them? Would you hire a house painter who could paint your house the quickest? Would you go to a hairdresser who gets the job done the fastest? I mean, it is ludicrous, but we do it. So you need to be smart to educate clients why it's in their interests. And it's going to be even more important as we come out of this, because you need to reinvent yourself as a recruiter who builds their ethos and their reputation based on engagement and relationships and consultative recruiting. And consultative recruiting is where the client gives the service provider time to ask questions, to debate, and takes their advice. And that is the future. Because if you don't do that, you'll end up at the far end of the pack, spamming resumes around, desperately trying to hit the goal every now and again. And in a boom market, even though that was shocking recruitment, and I actually don't call it recruitment, it was referring resumes around at pace, it could still make you enough money to survive, but there's not going to be enough work to go around to do that. Clients won't be entering the market frivolously. They'll be serious. And so you need to provide a serious solution. And you need to believe in the value. You could even get to the point, and I'm not saying we do this, but I'm not sure, where we could actually break our fee up into the consultation part, right? That's the taking of the job order. And after all, if you go to a doctor or a lawyer, isn't that the most valuable part, where the lawyer or the doctor or even the house painter assesses through his or her expertise and through smart questioning about your outcomes and the situation and the issue. And then they say, no, said the lawyer, I don't think we'll go that way. What we'll do is we'll do this. And the doctor says, no, it's not that. Tablets won't work. It's this. And the house painter says, no. You can't possibly use that color on this side because of the sun. And it's their expertise that we value. Right? So you could almost charge a fee. And we should be thinking like this. There is a fee for the consultation, and then there's a fee for the finding, for the search, and then there's a third fee for managing the process. Those are the three key values of a consultative recruiter. And you should be proud of the fact you can do those things. And if you can't do those things, if you're not able to have a consultative conversation to qualify a job order, and qualifying a job order, it means asking the questions which allow you to lead the client on a journey for where the client has actually agreed to a job that is fillable and is going to solve his or her problems. We got to the crazy situation where the client, in many cases, is driving the recruitment process. Do you go to your doctor and say, look, I hear what you say, but no, I'm going to take these tablets. And by the way, would you operate this way? Do you go to your lawyer and say, no, let's say this in the contract? Do you go to your house painter and say, no, I know you say it should be XYZ type paint, but I don't want that. I want this paint. Even though you say that's going to peel off in 6 months, I want this paint. Do you do that? You take their advice because they're consultative. They've got credibility. They ask smart questions and they deliver us value in their advice. That is what you need to do. And you can only do that if you have the job exclusively, because if you go back to my two recruiters sitting next to each other, the guy taking the 20 orders, he couldn't do it anyway with 20 orders a month, but none of his clients will listen to him, because when they give him an order, they attach a job description to an email and email it to him and say, send me candidates. And you know what? He does. There's no future to that. Take less, take better jobs. The outcomes are the client gets a better service based on expertise, advice, and quality recruiting. The client spends less time on the recruiting. The client's confidentiality is preserved. The client has more time to do whatever the client's meant to be doing, which is probably being a finance director, not a recruiter. The irony of this is too that the candidate gets a better service. Do you think that recruiters come in every day and sit down and have a meeting and say, look guys, let's have our meeting on how we're going to piss our candidates off this week. I want some nice creative ideas from you all, please. How are we going to piss our candidates off? Of course not. We don't come in with that. We want to give our candidates the best service, but the reason why we let candidates down on candidate service mostly is we're too busy filling one order out of 5. If you're only handling 6 jobs, you'd be able to service every candidate. So the candidate would get better service, and we know the benefits for you. So exclusivity. And I don't mind if it's exclusive or retained, as long as it is a real commitment. The retainer, it's not about the money. The only reason you'd want a little bit of money from the client up front is to get their commitment to work with you exclusively. So yeah, take a retainer, that's even better. But The most important thing is the client's committed to giving you time to do great work. And that work includes qualifying the job order, time to search the best candidates, and managing the process. Client will love it.